Hey everybody, this is Trent from the Variant Cast here. I want to apologize real fast for the audio issues in this episode. My microphone is a little bit messed up because it was our first time uh, recording with a new setup. Um, so yeah, I apologize, but hope you listen to the episode anyways. It's a really great episode. Yeah.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Variant Cast. We got a special episode because we're here in person. I have a mouse in my hand. Got you. Welcome back to the Variant Cast. I'm with the man who just realized that he left his stove on. Trent, how you doing?
Good. Guess I got a couple hours until I can go back home and turn that off. But while we're at it, let's do this. Let's do this pod.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully your possessions are still there. If they are not, I hope you have an Excel file of their value for insurance purposes. The reason I am holding my mouse and the reason I wasn't able to give a proper high five is because we got some different cameras. So I could be talking, Trent could be talking. Oh, there we got it.
Setup.
Yeah, we got a multi-cam setup. So we could iterate our points here. So if you are interested in what that multi-cam setup looks like, make sure you check out the video form. I've noticed something about ours. I don't actually do the editing. That is a Trent thing there. We actually have video available on Spotify, so you could actually watch the entire video form if you are interested on the Spotify app, just straight from the app. So if you do that and you're ever interested on what we look like when we're making these extremely intelligent points, you can go ahead and check that out. But here we are, gonna get into some news. It's gonna be a big casting episode today. So Trent, why don't you go ahead and get us into it?
Lots of news. So it's been a kind of slow week in terms of content coming out. There was a couple episodes of things that we haven't quite caught up on, but yeah, we got a lot of casting that has dropped in the last week and a half. We got some DC news.
Right.
We got some Marvel news.
Mm-hmm. Pedro
Pascal as Mr. Fantastic. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
But we'll get into some casting, and then I have a couple movies that I'd love to talk to you about and try to convince you to watch that, and a TV show, and I got a Nope review.
Nice. Here's the thing about this is if I have no reason to watch a movie, most likely I probably won't watch the movie. Just I got a lot of things going on, but I've been trying to get more into it for not only this podcast, but just to have that knowledge of just what has come out in the past 10 years, because I think we just are advancing so much in what's happening. So I try to keep up with it. So this pod's a great form for that. So starting off, we have we talked about it a little bit. If you are a regular listener to this show, I assume you're into Marvel, because that's by far what we've talked about the most, with Loki and the Marvels coming out last week.
If you're still listening after you heard us say that we liked the Marvels, then you're really with us.
It's true. It's true. Yeah. We didn't absolutely despise the Marvels and think it was the worst thing ever made. So
yeah.
We're one of one in that sense, I guess. It was really weird hearing the reception to that after watching the movie.
Yeah.
Some people, I think, just went in, and I hate using this, but some people definitely went in with the internet mindset.
Yeah.
Because I don't understand how you watch that movie and feel the way you're feeling about it.
Have a little bit of fun watching it.
It's such an inoffensive movie.
Yeah.
It's genuinely the same Marvel movie that you've already watched 10 plus times, except it's got a new spin on it with a bit more energy, and it's very weird, very weirdly paced. I get that, but there's worse sins a movie can have, like being boring, for instance.
Yeah.
Boring films really are gonna leave a much worse taste in my mouth. So if you're ever confused as to my kind of reviewing standards. Boring is the biggest sin, being bad is the second. So we're okay there. But let's go ahead and get into some Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah, they really don't know how to feel about it. It definitely wasn't my first choice. To say that. No. It seemed like there was a lot of people in front of him in the list, like in the casting list, that I would have rather chosen. But Pedro Pascal, he's a good actor, very dynamic actor. He played a good like crazy person in the Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, the Nick Cage movie where he played himself.
Right. Yeah.
But he also played. I mean, he voices the Mandalorian. He's not in the suit anymore. But he's good as Joel, so he's a good actor. But we'll see if he matches the Reed Richards type. I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, let me get a little solo camera for this when I make this statement. Anybody hating on this casting can just screw up. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear none of it. I'm gonna sit here and tell you that this is going to be the best portrayal of Mr. Fantastic that you have ever seen.
Get on your soapbox, Ty.
I'm on it. I'm on it right now. I'll stand up. I'll look into this solo cam here, and tell you that this is gonna be the best portrayal of Mr. Fantastic. This is the best actor to be cast in a Marvel movie, period, since ever. And I think in terms of the character, I think so many people get wrapped up in, okay, who is Mr. Fantastic? Oh, he's this white guy with black hair and white. He has white right there.
Yeah.
And in Pedro Pascal, he's not white. He can't be Mr. Fantastic, even though like I think a lot of people would consider Pedro Pascal white. But
he had a good SNL joke when he hosted, and he said he's racially, or no, it was Oscar Isaac, but he said he was racially ambiguous when getting casted. So he could be like Cuban, or he could be like white, or he could be
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I don't think that stuff matters too much at all, actually, especially in the world we live in now. But at the end of the day, what makes Mr. Fantastic is his internal struggle. Is he's not a good guy. Yeah. He is absolutely not a hero. He toes the line of doing the right thing for science, but he's very much science above humanity most of the time.
Yeah.
And I think that's the coolest part about his character, and I think Pedro Pascal plays a role very similar to that. It's kind of the opposite with the Joel role in Last of Us, where he takes humans and his own feelings over science and the potential of a cure and stuff like that.
Very true.
So it's kind of the opposite of it, but I think he's going to be good at it.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited to see the other castings because
there's a couple of rumors, but it's not confirmed. But Vanessa Kirby, she was in the Mission Impossible series as the White Widow. She's gonna. She seems like she'd be a good Invisible Woman. That's what they're rumored. And even I forget what his name is. He's the cousin on the bear, Richie. He's Richie on the bear.
Right.
He's supposedly gonna play the Thing.
What was he in? He was in something. Oh, he was in that one movie I watched last episode.
Oh yeah. No Hard Feelings.
No Hard Feelings. He's in that. He's good in that as well. Even though he kind of just plays almost the same character as.
He's also in Andor.
Hey,
good shit.
He's been around, and I think he's a pretty good actor. I think that makes a lot of sense as the Thing.
Yeah.
I think the biggest one is Human Torch. I think that's the biggest casting. It's gonna have the most eyeballs in terms of. That's been the big ticket one the past two times. We had Chris Evans and then Michael B. Jordan, both huge gets set for the time. So I think they probably want another one of those. Timothy Chalamet comes to mind as like the name, but I don't think he's the person I would want.
I don't think Timmy's going to do a Marvel. I don't think he's going to do any superhero movie.
I think a lot of people that may have potentially done stuff like this like 5 years ago that we were thinking would probably aren't going to do it. I think that Marvel kind of has this connotation now where you're going to either get no-name younger actors or you're going to get older actors that they are paying gargantuan amounts of money like they are with Pedro. I mean, I am sure he is making plenty.
Oh, yeah.
But I think it's going to be a confusing movie. It's going to be not the most straightforward setup.
Yeah.
And you're going to need a strong cast for that. So I hope if there's one spot that they do overspend, it would be the cast.
Yeah.
I think you need Fantastic Four to be your comeback everybody film. All the people that have gotten off of the Marvel train, you need to get them back on, or at least as many people as you can from like a marketing point of view.
Yeah.
So you get Pedro Pascal, and just to clarify, none of this is confirmed. It's just leaning that way. We've had other
Pedro
ones.
is confirmed. Deadline reported.
Yeah, we don't know until we know, though.
Yeah.
Until we get that full like photo lineup, we don't know until we know.
Yeah.
Because we also had the shakeup with the Secret Wars director.
Oh, yep. So, Avengers 5, they dropped their director and their writer, apparently. So the writer was working on Quantumania, or he wrote Quantumania, and I want to say, no, he didn't write Loki, but it seems like Marvel's trying to move away from Kang stuff because of a lot, like supposedly, or what is assumed to be like a lot of the Jonathan Majors stuff. But there was an interesting thing that was actually on the Weekly Planet. I was listening to them, and they said that they got a tip from somebody,
Right.
and they said that so they have a segment called Hot Scoop or Shot of Poop. He said I have to shout it out or else I can't say it, right?
Right.
But so they said that that Jonathan Majors has in his contract that he's the only person that could play a Kang
in
anything, like in any universe. He's the only one that is like able to play Kang the Conqueror.
Oh.
So that's why they can't just recast.
Yeah, because that's such an obvious, like, he's Kang, he looks different, we're going to just move on.
Yeah.
So I can understand why he wanted that in his contract.
Yeah.
I can't really understand why Marvel gave him that. Maybe he
just assumed that, like, everything was going to be fine.
Yeah. I mean, fair enough. And I know it's gotten some kickback, but it kind of seems like majority of audiences don't necessarily care. But when you have some issues with the box office and you're about to spend probably the most money on a single movie that anyone has ever spent, you don't want that investment to be put in jeopardy by one guy.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where they're at with Majors, and they're kind of stuck with it.
Yeah.
But hey, I think it's a long ways away. Hopefully they will get something figured out.
Probably, I feel like they'll probably kind of take a step back, look at things. Maybe Avengers 4 or Avengers 5 turns into a Young Avengers movie, and then I don't know, they follow up with Avengers 6 that bleeds the Young Avenger, or that has the Young Avengers and the Avengers going into the actual Secret Wars.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. I think it's something that they've kind of put themselves into a little bit of a corner with Young Avengers, where now they've said, hey, we're gonna have Miss Marvel and Kate Bishop in it.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out from there, I guess.
Yeah. It's kind of just throwing things at a wall, see what sticks.
Yeah. That's kind of been what Phase 4 is. It's almost like they're trying to find that identity again. It's like Iron Man, the first Iron Man set them up so well, where they're like, this is the tone of the universe. This is what we're building with, and this is what every solo film is going to try to be.
Yeah.
And then we're going to, put them all together, and the tone's going to make sense because they're all going for the same thing. But now we're in a spot where they got to figure out what that new tone is. Yeah. And it's not going to be whatever Miss Marvel was, because that didn't perform well. So we'll back to the drawing board with it.
Yeah. If we could just go back to the Marvels for a second. The opening scene where it's all comic book illustrated, that was so good.
So good.
And then, there wasn't really, an introduction like that for the other characters.
True.
It seemed like, if it's called, the Marvels, it kind of seemed like it should have been called Captain Marvel 2, because we didn't really get an introduction to Captain Marvel in that movie. If it was the Marvels, I feel like we should have had, a soft introduction to Captain Marvel. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. That scene, when I saw it, I was like, oh wow, I wasn't expecting this. I wasn't expecting them to do a whole animated scene thing. And it almost feels like that was post, obviously it's post, but that was reshoots almost. Hey, the intro isn't cohesive. We have to introduce this character that's from a Disney Plus show. What if they haven't seen the Disney Plus show? But then they didn't really take a minute to explain Monica.
Yeah, and she was just I walked through a wall.
Yeah, because even if you saw WandaVision, it was a while ago. You could totally just forget who she is.
Yeah.
So it was a bit weird that she didn't get more love in that movie.
Yeah.
Let's be clear, there's a lot wrong with that movie. I don't think it's the worst thing ever made. I don't even think it's bottom 5 MCU.
Yeah.
But it's kind of rough at times. But hey,
yeah,
that is what it is. But what do we got next, Trim?
So moving on, we got some DC news. So DC revamped. Seems like they're starting fresh. Rebooting, they're just clearing house, starting from the ground up. And what comes first, it seems like, other than James Gunn's previous projects like Peacemaker, is Superman Legacy, which seems very promising. The casting seems to be really good so far.
Yeah.
David Cornsweet, he seems to read a lot of past interviews, and he seems like he really cares a lot about the character of Superman, and feels like the past portrayals, other than the Christopher Reeves Superman, didn't really do it justice, as opposed in the sense of making sure that people connect to him on a human level, as well as making him feel alienated. So I feel like that's all pointing in the right direction. I'm excited to see what there hasn't been a bad James Gunn movie yet. So
yeah, I mean, hey, real quick, how do you say his name?
David Cornsweet.
Corrin. David Cornsweet.
I think so.
Okay. Because I've been calling him Colin Sweat, and I ain't be. That's not an ideal name. Yeah, there was. I mean, when he got cast, he was a bit small, and everyone started freaking out, and I don't know why, because the picture was released, or he posted a picture recently where he's just jacked as all hell.
Yeah.
It's oh man, it's almost like when you're on a million dollar movie project, they're gonna make sure you look like you should.
Yeah.
And they got that man eating. They got that man eating lean right now.
Yep.
Bulking right now. Dude's unreal.
Yeah.
He looks yoked. And he already had the look visually.
Yeah.
And I think that's what James Gunn's really good at, is finding those people that not only look like they should, but also, have that ability to deliver the lines like they should. And
yeah.
I don't know too much about the guy, but I have faith in James Gunn. And like you said, there hasn't been a bad James Gunn project yet. And I think that's because he really knows who he's making the movies for, and that's himself.
He really cares about the characters.
He is making the movies that he wants to watch. And I want to watch the movies that James Gunn wants to watch. So it works, and I think that's why DC put themselves in a really good spot. That's why I think Marvel wanted to have him run the cosmic side. I really think the cosmic side was the next phase, and that firing, I think, was a lot more than people realize and changing the trajectory of the MCU.
Yeah.
And it's crazy that there's going to be a time in my life where I may prefer DC movies to MCU movies, which just I never would have thought, because growing up, I didn't like have any allegiance to the comic books necessarily. And I just watched whatever movies I liked, and I did not like the movies that were coming out in the 2010s for DC, and I liked the ones for Marvel. And we're going into the 2020s now, and it's looking like it's gonna really be a changing of the guard. But we got to see it in practice, and I'm glad that they're starting with Superman Legacy. I'm glad it's not something silly like, oh, we're gonna kick off our universe with
Batman vs Superman.
Booster Gold.
Yeah.
You know,
and it seems like it's going to be like an established universe. Yeah. Like it's starting out. It's not like, oh, Superman's the first superhero in the world. Like they don't have to like act like other superheroes don't exist. Like it's gonna. Yeah, it feels like it's gonna be a fully fleshed out universe that's got teams already. That's got crime going on. That's got people who are already turned into supervillains. And
I think that's been probably the jankiest part about the actual in-universe side of Marvel.
Yeah.
Like the in-universe stuff makes no sense because superheroes didn't exist until 2008. Except, well, wait, they did exist in 1990 and in the 40s and then in the... So, like, it's one of those things where you get really messy with retcons.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why people are still doing it. Like, we know what DC is. We know who Superman is. We know who Wonder Woman is. We know the setup. We know what superpowers are. We can get it. We don't need a movie for each character. You can have Martian Manhunter just show up like he did.
Yeah, Zack Snyder's driveway.
He sure did. Just show up. But yeah, Superman Legacy, I will definitely be watching it when it comes out.
But that's not it. That's not all the casting.
That's not all the casting. Go.
So we got Nicholas Hoult. He was in I think it was in the show or that movie, The Menu on HBO.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna play Lex Luthor.
Oh yeah.
And then we got Skylar Gisondo from he was in The Righteous Gemstones, and he was in Booksmart and a couple other things. But he's gonna play a really good Jimmy Olsen. He's just seems like a super nerdy kid, redheaded kid who's gonna play Jimmy Olsen perfectly.
Nice.
And then Anthony Carrigan, who's my favorite actor from the show Barry, who played NoHo Hank. He's going to play a character called Metamorph in Superman. So all really great casting choices, and I'm excited to see him come to life.
Yeah, I think, like I said, James Gunn, I think, is the best in terms of casting for his movies. There hasn't been a miscast yet.
Yeah.
That I'm like, oh, absolutely not. And I think from what I'm hearing, it sounds like they're doing what they should and kind of building towards, like, ages wise, like 2030, 2035, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, if you want your big culmination event for your universe to be like 2035, you don't want to be casting your lead as someone in their 50s. Like, I think that is where, Marvel didn't have the foresight to cast like a younger Iron Man. Great. Yeah. Who knows if that franchise is even successful without Robert Downey Jr. So, like, you can't, go back and change that. But, like, they'd love to have an actor that they could still be casting. Yeah. But they can't because Robert Downey Jr. is like this global megastar. And maybe David Corn Sweat. Maybe Mr. Corn Sweat becomes that. Well, he's definitely going to become that.
Yeah.
But maybe he gets to the point where they can't afford him. But I like to think that they've gotten these contracts written out because they've said they want the same voices for all the games. They want all of the actors to voice act, and that's not something we've ever seen done. This is definitely a new step into the cinematic universe thing.
Yeah.
He even said like video games, they want to be like voiced by the same same actors, so that would really be some uncharted territory. But it sounds like the names that they're getting, it's possible.
Yeah, I just thought of this. Do you think that's in any like relation to people, like the backlash that they didn't get the MCU actors for the Avengers game? Do you remember how there was like a lot of people didn't like how like they were like, why couldn't they, like, this character looks exactly like Chris Evans? Why not have Chris Evans' voice?
Maybe. I think it's James Gunn being a bit of ahead of the curve a little bit, because I think he sees what Marvel's doing. He sees the success of the Spider-Man PS4, and he's thinking like, why can't that story be in the same universe as the MCU? That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Like, why couldn't they make a Spider-Man PS4 with Tom Holland voiced, and it's a canonical event that happened in the MCU? Like, why couldn't they do that? That sounds like it'd sell a lot of games.
Yeah.
It sounds like if you make it a self-contained Spider-Man story, it's not necessary for anyone to play to understand the wider universe.
Yeah.
But it's a nice little chapter in this character's universe that was already going to be made as a game.
Yeah.
That we can now kind of add as filler. And like, that might be bad. Maybe that's something that people are going to be like, I don't want to play a video game to understand what's happening. I'm sure you'll get some of that, but I think they'll do it well. And I really like I said, the casting direction. It feels pretty obvious what they're doing, and I think they're going to execute it well.
Yeah. I'm excited to see the DC universe flushed out.
Yeah.
So, but we got one more Marvel casting that we're going to cover.
Oh, okay.
So, Robert Kirkman, he's famously the big Walking Dead guy, big Invincible guy. So he was doing a live stream on Instagram, and he said, he just like out of the blue said, yeah, I don't think, he's like, I'm not under contract for Marvel, so I'm probably not going to get in trouble for saying this, but Stephen Yuen just texted me saying that he got back from his MCU costume fitting for for Sentry for the Thunderbolts.
A Sentry?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Are you familiar with that character?
Yeah,
I'm very much like a Superman type character.
So I'm actually very familiar with Sentry here. Okay. I got you. So Sentry is a Superman type character, but not only is it a Superman type character, it's one of the most confusing Superman type characters ever, because he kind of just shows up out of the blue, and you're like, okay, why is this really powerful character just not here? It's kind of like a lot of the complaints Captain Marvel got when she was introduced. It's like, oh, it would have been nice to have her for the Battle of New York. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of that, but they're going to play into it. They're going to be like, oh, where was this guy during the Battle of New York? Where was this guy during all of these things? And in the comics, he was a hero during that time. He was there during all those battles, but then they kind of wiped everyone's memory of him. Because he has like this weird like alternate persona called like the Void, that like he's like kind of crazy.
That's right.
So he, like, when the Void comes out, or the Void side of him, he's very destructive and basically like a supervillain that can't be killed at all. So that's when Mr. Fantastic, who's like his best friend essentially, like locked him away and made him, like, everyone forget who existed, including him. But Sentry, when he found out about it, he was like, oh, screw Mr. Fantastic, I hate that guy. But he learns that, oh, I told him to do it because of my split personality kind of thing going on. So I think Stephen Yeun's the perfect person to do that. I think he's absolutely going to kill that role. That was if there was ever a Jeremy Allen White MCU role, that was the one I was hoping on, but I don't think we're ever going to get that at this point.
People are saying maybe Wonder Man for Jeremy Allen White.
Yeah.
But yeah, Stephen Yeun in the MCU, love to see it. He's not the biggest guy ever. Pretty sure Sentry's a huge guy, like Thor.
Yep.
Generally. Like the size of Thor.
Yep.
but it doesn't have to be.
Yeah, I think he'll probably bulk up a bit for it. They'll give him a suit that makes him look big, but he probably won't be overbearing. I think they'll kind of play into just like, oh, he's kind of unassuming, but he's absurdly powerful.
Yeah.
Maybe he's going to show up the first time we see him not in costume, so it's very much going to be like a surprise. This guy's the most powerful thing that has ever been shown to us in the MCU. So
yeah,
I like it. I'm very excited to see that. I think
the hype went up for the movie when I
that. Those are the type of characters like you need in the MCU at this point, just like people to like excite. Like, I'm sorry, like Kate Bishop isn't getting me excited. I need Sentry. I need the Fantastic Four.
Hercules was cool. Like, it would be cool if we ever saw Hercules again, but
I've never seen Hercules again. It's so silly. And like, you knew that when you watched it.
Yeah.
And I think that's really what turned people sour on that movie.
Yeah. Same with the Doctor Strange post-credit scene.
Yeah, same thing. It's just like, stop showing us things you're never going to show us.
Yeah.
I don't want to see it. Yeah. If you're going to show me things...
I need a teaser for Doctor Strange 3.
Yeah.
I need a teaser for King, or I need a teaser for, like, you know...
If you're going to show me things that you're not actually going to show me things after they happened.
Yeah.
Not before they're happening. Like, if you want to show, like, Hercules is going to go fight Thor. Just show me Hercules fighting Thor in the after credit scene, and then like maybe beats Hercules up, and then Hercules is on the ground like or something, you know?
Yeah.
And then you can still bring him back if you ever decide to, but at least it's like he did something instead of just standing there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
We'll see.
What do we got? What do we got next, Trent?
So I feel like we should just get into some movie reviews.
Yeah. Before that, tell me like about the stuff you've been watching.
Yeah. So I watched a couple movies this week. First was the Killer on Netflix. It's a Michael Fassbender movie. He plays like a hitman who, in the beginning of the movie, he fucks up like his job that he was doing, and so the whole movie's kind of like a snowball effect of like him trying to keep up with his mistakes.
Love a good snowball.
Yeah, and it's a short movie. It's like less than 2 hours. It's a good watch. Very good sound design. He's constantly listening to the Smiths. I don't know if you're familiar with the Smiths, but he's constantly listening to the Smiths while he's just like sniping people. But it goes from like the music to cutting outside of his headphones and like a very, very good, a very nice way, I feel like. Yeah. And the sound design's really good, and Tilda Swinton's got a good scene in it. I always love good Tilda Swinton scene.
Nice. Okay.
And so yeah.
So yeah, that's I love movies that do that kind of just music. Yeah. Using music as a device in universe, as opposed to just having like the music as a soundtrack, just like having actual having it as a set piece, basically.
Yeah.
Those are the movies that their soundtracks really stick with me.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking about it more in line with what the story is and stuff like that. So
like
so solid.
Kirsten's favorite movie is Baby Driver.
Baby Driver, yeah. Baby Driver for that reason is amazing. Same with like the Guardians movies. Pretty much all of like any movie that you hear has a good soundtrack, it's because they're using it.
Yeah.
I'm letting you in on a little secret here. A little secret is no movie actually has a good soundtrack. It's just how you use the soundtrack.
When those lyrics are written into the script, that's when you know that's going to go.
That's a good soundtrack right there.
Yeah. So yeah, very, very good. Simple premise. It seems like very like easy to follow. Really good watch.
Awesome.
Next thing is another Netflix movie. Is this Netflix animated movie that just came out called Leo. It's a Adam Sandler who plays a lizard.
Oh.
And He plays a class pet. So it's him. He plays a lizard, and Bill Burr plays a tortoise or a turtle.
Right.
And so they're these two class pets, and essentially each kid has to take one pet home each day.
Oh, right.
Because the main teacher left because she went on like pregnancy leave or whatever, and so they hired a substitute, and she's like, all of you guys are going to take home one of the class pets, and so they take home Adam Sandler, which is Leo, and they figure out that he can like speak to them.
Oh.
And so like he essentially just like gives them advice and like helps them like work through whatever like they're going through in their life.
Nice.
So like there's like this
therapy pet.
Yeah, literally like a therapy pet. And so he goes and he's like talking to each kid, and he's like I only talk to you because you're special. But he says this to every kid. And so they eventually find out, that
real liar reveal situation there.
Yeah.
No one's special, everyone's pissed.
But the funniest scene was this kid. He said that he didn't actually have like the voice that he had. Like he spoke in like kind of a deep voice, and then he like cut to like a really high pitched voice, and he's like I actually speak like this. And then Adam Sandler's like, he's like, man, that's not so bad. You sound like The Weeknd. And he's like, you just gotta like pick up some singing recitals or something.
Yeah.
And the kid does that. It's so funny.
The Weeknd. Shout out The Weeknd.
Shout out Abel.
Shout out that fucking
Friends with Adam Sandler,
yeah,
sure, because they're in Uncut Gems.
Oh yeah,
because The Weeknd has an Uncut Gems.
Yeah, a lot of Weeknd connections to Adam Sandler. Not really the expected pipeline, but it's the pipeline we're down. So.
Yeah. But it was surprisingly good.
It's just like a Netflix like original, or
yeah, it's a Netflix original.
Okay. How is it animated? Like 2D, 3D?
It's a 3D animated.
Okay. Better or worse than Garfield?
Better.
Animation?
Yeah.
Okay, look at that. Look at that. Netflix is outdoing Sony right now. Crazy stuff.
But it was a really good, surprisingly good movie. If you're into musicals, maybe it's not for you. There was quite a bit of like children singing, and it was kind of unbearable at some points. But all of like the parts that weren't singing, the comedy parts were good.
Okay.
And I enjoyed it.
Look at that. Adam Sandler still making kids content in year of our Lord 2023.
Yeah. And there's definitely some jokes that err on the side of kind of being adult jokes. Like I'm pretty sure they're like the turtle makes like a smoking, like Bill Burr makes a smoking joke at one point. He's like holding like a log that looks like a cigar. Or
sounds about right. Yeah. Some little marijuana jokes here and there. Gotta throw them in. We gotta indoctrinate the new.
It's very much set in 2023 too.
Right.
Like there's this kid who's like the protected kid who like has like allergies. In every movie there's that stereotype of the one kid who is like super like
hyperallergenic.
Yeah, and their mom's always like taking care of him, and he has like this drone that follows him around. And there's this one scene where like the drone just like shoots like a mask on him.
That one
sprays him.
That one kid from It archetype, really.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and then we got you watched Nope?
Did watch Nope.
How'd you like Nope?
I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
Jordan Peele, man.
Jordan Peele, man. He's good at this thing.
Yeah. So you were right. The night scenes are super dope.
Yeah.
Have you seen that? Have you seen like how they did that?
Yeah.
The big ass light rig.
There was I saw that like posted and just like people saying, oh, this is why people are like, oh, why do indie films look so terrible in the dark?
Yeah.
Oh, we got a dude coming in here. We got a little guy here. Got a little cameo from this little guy.
Oh, I'm allergic to cats.
We'll take him. So, ow. They got claws and stuff. But yeah, there's I was talking about indie films. They were looking at like the setup. If you haven't seen the setup for Nope and how they film it, it is the most absurd light you have ever seen.
Yeah.
And it's just like beaming down on the entire set. So it's really not possible to ever get shots like this without just incredible technology. And they have that incredible technology, and they use it really well. How much did you know going in about like just, we're going to get into some spoilers for Nope, by the way. If you haven't seen Nope, go watch Nope like right now, and then come back to this point in the podcast where Trent will talk about what he expected going in.
So, like I said last episode, I knew very little about the movie, I feel like. I knew that Stephen Yuen was in it. I knew that there was a monkey. I knew that the monkey did something fucked up.
Monkey did some shit.
I knew that there was something to do with Keke Palmer and Daniel Kaluuya's like profession as like production or like directors.
Yeah.
And that was basically all I knew about it. And I knew obviously it was a Jordan Peele movie, so there was, or actually I did know that there was some sort of like weird abstract alien, because I always heard people talk about how the aliens were portrayed in this movie.
Yeah.
Which we're definitely going to get into.
Yeah. So did you fall for the kids dressed up as aliens? Like when they were in that, I think it's like a barn or something, and there's these kids. I think they're Stephen Yeun's kids. That character. I did not fall for it.
No.
But it was interesting because this whole time, because I heard same thing going in, that it's not like any alien you've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, what does that mean though? And then you get like some pretty stereotypical alien stuff, and you're like, okay, this is probably not it. This is probably not what they're building towards. And then they finally kind of get to what they're building towards, and it is crazy.
Yeah.
The effects on that thing, it's like a flying saucer, but it's like physically a flying saucer.
Yeah. And it's super like grounded in reality, it seemed like. It didn't like, it definitely seemed like something that you could see in real life,
like an art creature.
Yeah, but the visual effects were awesome. I loved the chemistry between Keke Palmer and Daniel Kaluuya was great.
Yeah,
Stephen Yuen was great in it. As always,
the tech guy.
Yeah,
he's great. In the the director guy, that plays like the cinematographer.
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, like, so a big thing with this, the whole thing is like trying
to get the shot, the money shot,
get the shot. And if you are into cinematography, it's worth watching this just for like, it's probably like just I don't know how to explain it. Just watch it if you're into cinematography.
Yeah.
Not only is it a well shot film that has a lot of great moments for people that are into cinematography, but it also has like just references to a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
And the big thing with it is like an EMP wherever it goes. It will fuck up your cameras, so you can't get it on camera. So the whole thing's just like, we need to get this thing on film so that we can get rich.
Yeah.
This is, we have an alien, and we got to be the ones to to make sure that we're breaking this news. But they can't get the shot. They set up a bunch of cameras. Every time it flies through, it always knocks them out. So bro comes in with the crank.
Yeah.
The crank camera.
Old-fashioned film.
And there's this shot where he is cranking that camera and the alien's just coming in to eat him, and he's just sitting there cranking. And this is like this guy's portrayed as like the super successful like director. He's got everything to live for, but he's throwing it all away for this one shot.
Yeah.
This one shot, and he doesn't end up getting it.
Yeah. I thought for like somehow they were gonna get footage from like inside.
I was hoping. I was really
somehow
hoping
the camera was gonna fall out and it was gonna be fine, but that would have been so unrealistic.
But no, how they got it was there's this like old timey town that Stephen Yeun runs, that it's like this cowboy centric themed old timey, and they have this well that takes pictures of people like looking down, or and you put in like some quarters and you crank it and it goes.
Yeah, that's such a genius idea.
And they show it early on, and you don't think too much of it. And it's one of those things that they're definitely showing you for a reason, because it comes in at the climax where Keke Palmer's character is the one that actually gets it on shot, and she's just cranking the well.
She's cranking it so hard.
Yeah. And she gets it. It's such a awesome movie.
Yeah,
like it's not your standard Alien movie.
Yeah.
It's not your standard anything movie. It's not it's a horror movie, but it's like, it's also just, it's a thriller, and it's just a really well-made movie.
Yeah.
If you are feeling really tired of just like big budget blockbusters or Netflix originals, and you just need a palate cleanser, and you haven't seen Nope, make sure you watch Nope. Even the stuff we've talked about, while they are spoilers, it's only the surface of what the movie offers, and
it's visually so good.
So good. But yeah, so we do a little past the movie, but we have one that I don't think either one of us have watched fully, right?
Yeah. So
doing a little
Scott
Pilgrim versus the World, right?
There's a new show that just came out, so we'll watch the movie, come back with our thoughts. And maybe the next week we'll review the Netflix show.
I say we do this. So we still have we have 2 episodes of Invincible to cover, and that's the mid-season finale. So we're gonna do a little kind of Invincible centric episode, and it'll be just kind of like going through what we think the second half of the season's going to be. Obviously, we know that it follows the comics, but they have shown already that they're ready to deviate from those. So
I have not read the comics.
Okay. I have read basically a little bit into like what season 2 would be.
I gotcha.
But it's not following it. Like the reveal of, I won't get too into it. We got a different show for that. But we'll go over some of that stuff, and then we'll be doing a full like Scott Pilgrim episode. We'll not only be going over our first time watching it, but we'll also check through with the mini series as well, if we can get all of those watched by then.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I think that's all we got, right?
Cool.
Yeah, we got a shorter episode today in person, the first in-person pod here.
Yeah.
I think it went pretty well. Let us know if you guys prefer this. We'll make Trent drive 3 hours here and back every single week if you prefer it. So
yeah, if you just never want us to be in the same room again.
Yeah,
that could also happen.
Yeah, just let me know. I'll get a restraining order, just like that. Yeah. It's that easy. Actually, I think a stalking order, pro tip, if you ever need someone to get away from you, stalking orders don't have to be court approved. Restraining orders do. So just like go with the stalking order and kind of just go from there. But yeah, thank you for watching, and make sure you check back early next week. We probably will do a bit earlier episode for the Invincible, and if you're into Scott Pilgrim, stay tuned.
Watch Scott Pilgrim and with us.
Yeah.
And go watch The Killer. I don't talk about The Curse, but go watch The Curse on Paramount Plus. It was really good. And yeah, I think that's the episode.
That's the episode. This is my cat Ski Mask, the Slump God. He's saying goodbye. Make sure you check out the video portion so you can see what he looks like. But other than that, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Deuces. Thank you guys for listening.
Deuces.